Hey, Pop Kids! This week, we're looking at another parable Jesus told that helped people understand how much God loves and forgives us. Jesus told this story to an interesting group of people, tax collectors and sinners, as they're called in the Bible. These people wanted to be around Jesus and hear what he had to say. But the religious leaders weren't too happy about that. They whispered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Well, Jesus told a story about a lost sheep. Now the shepherd would drop everything to go find it. He told another story about a woman and a lost coin and how she would search the entire house until she found it. Each of these stories showed how much God cares about a person who's lost and how God celebrates when that person is found. Jesus then went on to tell a third story, this time about a lost son. There was a man who had two sons. The younger son spoke to his father. He said, "Father, give me my share of the family property." So the father divided his property between his two sons. Not long after that, the younger son packed up all he had. Then he left for a country far away. You see, in those times, fathers passed down all the money and things they owned to their sons. Sons were expected to continue the family legacy, carry on their name, and treat this responsibility with the highest respect. And the father's inheritance was usually given out after the father had died. So it was really disrespectful that the son asked for his father's money. His father was still alive. Then he traveled far away so that he could go spend it for himself, not the family legacy. But what happened to the son in that far-off country? Well, here's what Jesus said. There he wasted his money on wild living. He spent everything he had. Then the whole country ran low on food, so the son didn't have what he needed. Can you believe that? The son spent all his money, and now he couldn't even find food. He was totally broke. The son in the story had wasted all his money, and he really didn't have anywhere else to go. So what did he do? Jesus said, the younger son went to work for someone who lived in that country. That person sent the son to the fields to feed the pigs. The son wanted to fill his stomach with the food the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. Can you believe that? The son was sitting in the middle of a pigsty, so overcome with hunger that he wished he could eat what the pigs were eating. To the religious leaders who were listening to Jesus' parable, this would have made the younger son the dirtiest, most dishonorable person imaginable. But that's when Jesus changed the story. Listen to what the son did next. Then he began to think clearly again. He said, "How many of my father's hired servants have more than enough food? But here I am dying from hunger. I will get up and go back to my father. I will say to him, 'Father, I've sinned against heaven, and I have sinned against you. I am no longer fit to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up and went to his father. So after the son came to his senses, he started the long journey back home. He was hungry and dirty, and he was probably practicing his speech for when he came face to face with his father. Here's the last part of the story, and it's pretty amazing. Listen to this. While the son was still a long way off, his father saw him. He was filled with tender love for his son. He ran to him. He threw his arms around him and kissed him. The son said to him, 'Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer fit to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and the sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. This son of mine was dead, and now he is alive again. He was lost, and now he is found. So they began to celebrate. Incredible. The father was waiting every day, looking out for his son's return. The father wasn't angry. He was just happy to see his son again. He hugged his son, welcomed him home, and threw a party to celebrate. There's another interesting part of the story that Jesus told. The father's older son wasn't so pleased that his younger brother had come home and was having a party thrown in his honor. The older son was disgusted with the way his brother had acted and the way the father had welcomed him home. But the father said to his older son, "My son, you are always with me. Everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate and be glad. This brother of yours was dead, and now he is alive again. He was lost, and now he's found." Now, I don't want you to miss how powerful it would have been for the people Jesus was teaching that day. Remember, Jesus was talking to a crowd of tax collectors and sinners. I'll bet a lot of them felt like the younger son. They had made some bad choices, and they needed to know that God loved them and would forgive them. Jesus was also talking to the religious leaders who were acting a lot like the older son in the story. Jesus wanted everyone to understand how much God loves us and how God is always there to forgive us, no matter what. Think about how the father ran to his son, hugged him, and welcomed him home. That is a great illustration of how God feels about every single one of us. That's what we need to remember today. God will always forgive you.